Hey guys, Tisha here, and we are back for another review of the Housewives of Atlanta. So we begin this episode with Drew having walked out and Candy saying "end scene." We see that Kenya, Sonia, and Sheree follow Drew out while she's crying. And when asked why she's crying, she's saying that the lawsuit is a serious thing and nobody's taking her seriously. Sheree says that Drew has come to Sheree about things in previous seasons and telling her about stuff that's going on. The fact that people are saying that they had not been paid by her before and all those other things. So she finds it interesting and kind of like she just finds it to be odd that Drew's so bothered by her saying it. Meanwhile, she does the same thing. Basically, like, you dish it, but you can't take it. And it's interesting that Sheree is saying this because they both do the same thing. Literally, people will come to Sheree with stuff, and Sheree finds a way to deflect or to get upset about what they're saying. But Sheree does the same thing. There's a reason why they call Sheree the bone carrier or bone collector. Candy says that she feels like all of this is really dramatic and she's just gonna go ahead and go to the restroom. And I get that it seems dramatic. I agree that it does seem dramatic. But I also feel like if that's your friend Candy, at some point you could have just checked in on her and been like, okay, like, what else is going on that you're so emotional? We see Drew outside saying that any real friend will want to support her when she's going through a situation like this, or if they see her crying or something like that and she doesn't feel like she's being supported. Sheree said that she had no idea that it was even going on, but that's BS, Sheree, because if you didn't feel like it was going on, then how comes you're the one that brought it up? You knew that there was some type of validity to it. So as a result, you decided to bring it up amongst the group and embarrass Drew the same way that she embarrassed you. Kenya says that in her opinion, it's obvious that this is about more than just $1,000, that she feels like Drew is stressed about Ralph. And now knowing what we know, Kenya's assessment was correct. $1,000, you guys. I don't have $1,000 to be thrown away. Let's be clear before I make this statement. But Bravo pays you all significantly well. I don't know what Drew gets because Drew is newer to the show, but I would think that it would cost more money trying to sue someone or having to defend yourself in a court than it would be to just give her that $1,000. I feel like she might be spending more money to defend herself than she would be to just pay it. So I get why Sheree and some of the other ladies are saying that she should just pay it. But, you know, it's the principle of the thing. Marlo inside is saying that she doesn't know when Drew's serious or not, that she doesn't know how to gauge Drew. And Marlo, we feel the same way about you. They come back to the table as Candy is saying end scene. Well, after Candy said end scene and she was in the bathroom, we see Sonia and she's bringing up that even though they might have felt like Candy saying end scene, she might have felt that it was dramatic. It's very serious and there's a lot that's going on in terms of the case that Drew can't talk about. And Marlo could not wait to let Sonia know that she said end scene. I thought it was interesting that Sonia took up for Drew and saying that this is the most vulnerable that she's ever seen Drew, because me personally, I haven't watched all the shows with Drew on it because that Bolo thing got tired to me. So I don't know like how truthful that is, but for some reason, Sonia connected to her In the confessional, we hear Drew answering the producer, saying that because the producer asks her, is there more to this than what it seems? And Drew's basically saying that every time Ralph leaves, that she has to worry about him cheating on her. She brings up the whole assistant slash manager, whatever she is, because last season it was assistant, this season it's the manager, who was inappropriate with wanting to massage him, and how this season the producer manager lady rubbed him down with oil, and that same producer manager lady who rubbed him down with oil is also the same one who invited him to go to Vegas to audition for the Chocolate Factory. And Drew, one of the problems I have with you is you'll find something to be problematic, and rather than addressing it right there and then, you talk about it in confessionals. You don't address your issue with the people. And if you do, maybe it's something that you do off camera. But if you had a problem with that lady rubbing down your husband, why didn't you, tell the lady, I got that, or say something to Ralph? We see later on with her and Courtney, she talks later about how she had a problem with something that Courtney said, but she didn't address it at the time. So I don't quite understand that. We then find out that Kenya apparently spoke with Sheree about how Kandi hasn't been present a lot, and we see a clip of that. And I don't understand, Kenya, why you insist on talking to Sheree about things when Sheree is not your friend. Sheree chose Martell over you in that whole little disagreement that you had. Y'all agreed to disagree, so you should know to take Sheree at face value. Kandi tells the ladies that she's trying to be bigger than what she is, that she's working, that it's not intentional, that she's missing out on things, and she's sorry that she's missing out on things, but she feels like she still has a lot more to accomplish. Basically, y'all, Bravo is paying Kandi, and Kandi understands the importance of Bravo, but Kandi's also being paid very well from singing with her group too. Kandi has lost that ability before. Her group broke up for several years. I actually feel like they were apart longer than they were together. And now with them being in a place where they're able to perform again, she's trying to take full advantage of it, because she knows what it feels like to lose it. And although she made money doing other things, she's seeing that she's still not where she wants to be. She has family, she has friends, she's taking care of a lot of people, whether Kandi's telling us or not. I know Kandi is taking care of her mother. Kandi has bought her mom homes and cars and all these other things. So she has a lot of things on her plate, and because she takes good care of her people and her employees, she does have to keep pushing, and she does have to keep working. There is a gnat in here. Every time I film, that is when the gnat appears. It's something about, I guess, this I don't know, it's irking me off. So if you see my eyes darting off, that's what it is. The gnat season. I'm over it. The ladies advise her, mainly Marlo, that she needs to balance things more. Kandi talks about how she couldn't be upset if the ladies stop inviting her to things, because she has to understand that it could be frustrating when they're saying, like, we want you to be a part of this thing, and you're not being a part of this thing. I'm going through all types of stuff over here right now. We want to invite you. We want to include you. But what are we supposed to do when you're too busy? So if you don't get invited, you can't be so upset. I feel like, Kandi, this is valid, but you need to be more careful. I feel like you need to be more careful, because you're making it known to Bravo that they're not a priority, as well as those ladies. And you do need those ladies in order to film. Even though you have a lot of other things going on, for some reason, Bravo rather show us the things that you have going on with the ladies rather than what's going on in your life. And as a result, if you don't film with the ladies more, you're not going to have a lot of content to show us. It's the next day. We see the ladies getting ready to head out. It's raining, and Kenya is running late. And as she is walking to get on the sprinter, on with her slippers on, she slips because slippers have no grip and the floor is wet, and she falls, and her fall is bad. And Kenya, not shading Kenya, I believe Kenya is in her 50s, late 40s, early 50s. Either way, after 30, when you fall, it does something. Like, things can happen from what seems like to be a minor fall, but that fall looked like it hurt. So Candy decides that she's going to go to the hospital with Kenya, and they're going to have to wait for a long time. And I'm sure that that has to be stressful because everybody knows that the emergency room is always crowded, and another level is added to it when you're in a place that you're not familiar with. And these people do not speak the language that you're accustomed to speaking. So, you know, that's a whole thing. We see Drew and Courtney at the bar, and Courtney attempts to relate Kenya's fall to karma because, in Courtney's opinion, Kenya is a mean girl. Now, girl, nothing that Kenya has said to Courtney or done to Courtney at this point warranted that response. A fall is serious, and some of you all may feel like I'm being dramatic, but I know friends and family members that have had to have surgery from falls. I know 2 people who were skating and they shattered their wrists. My aunt had to get pins in hers. One of my coworkers fell down and tried to catch herself, and she ended up messing up her pinky, breaking her pinky and another finger, and it traveled all the way up, and she had to be in a cast, and her hand hasn't been the same. I know people who have broken limbs, like legs and their ankle and stuff from falling. So we're not going to sit here and minimize her fall and say that she deserved it just because you didn't like something that she had to say. That's not right. In confessionals, Drew said that Courtney's comment didn't sit well with her, but when she was saying what she was saying to you, you didn't check her on it. You didn't say that, and that's one of the problems that I have with Drew. Something will bother her, or she might not agree with something, and she just chooses not to say anything. Candy in the confessional says, like, look, I'm only here for a limited amount of time, and day 1 was me being sick and in a long flight and all those other things. And day 2 is something else. Now I'm having to sit here and spend a lot of my time in the emergency room. It's just not what I expected. We see all the ladies arriving at the market where they see the rabbit with the BBL. And as she's looking at it, Marlo says that Kenya needed the same doctor that the rabbit got because Kenya's butt is fake. Kenya, I wish you would just be honest about the situation, because I know that with age, especially as women, body parts, things on us change. Our legs may increase and decrease with size. Some of us do lose our derriere during certain points. But Kenya, it looks fake, boo. And I like you, but it looks really fake, especially when you're in those leggings, and it just, I don't know. Maybe you need to do some stair climbing so it comes up more and it's not just sitting low like you're dragging an extra appendage. But it's just, it's not, it is what it is. They call Candy and they find out that they're still waiting, and the girls don't understand because they feel like they should have VIP treatment because because Candy is worldwide and the girls are known. And Marlo says it couldn't be her, but Candy just blends in with the wall. That's what she does. She just blends in. Marlo, shut up. All ladies need to be quiet in this instance, because even if they weren't in the US, just because you're famous doesn't mean that you get preferential treatment. Some people don't know who you are, and some people don't care who you are. I feel like the only way, being in Portugal, I believe that's where they're at, that you'll be able to get special treatment is if you're somebody like Beyonce that really has millions and millions of followers. Nobody is following the Housewives to that extent, or Candy's career to that extent, where she will get preferential treatment at the hospital. anyways, I got real irritated by that. You're lucky that they're even seeing you. A lot of places don't even like Americans, just being real. We see the ladies out again, and Marlo is bringing up how much she's enjoying dating Scott Lee. She's showing pictures from her first date. Sheree takes that time, even though it had nothing to do with what Marlo was showing, to let it be known that Kenya says that it's not real. Kenya told her that. Once again, Kenya, why are you confiding or talking to Sheree about these things? Knowing Sheree's history and knowing that Sheree is for Sheree. Monyetta talks about how she felt like Marlo was bringing Scotty around a little early, and I agree. Marlo says that she's just trying to have fun. It's all about fun. And Sheree brings up to Monyetta like, look, Marlo knows Roy too, trying to be funny. Sheree brings up, and Marlo bring up the DM, and Monyetta feels like it's not the same. And once again, I said this last week, it's not the same. Marlo went to the DM to rub it in Kenya's face that she had a DM from someone that Kenya was dating and that he sought her out before he sought out Kenya. Kenya, on the other hand, used the DM to show Sheree, like, look, Martell isn't to be trusted. He reached out to me as well as reaching out to you. So y'all keep trying to make these things seem like it's the same thing, but it's not. We see Martell call Sheree because this is what they do. They plan to call one another while filming. It's not authentic. On his show, which is on another network, we see Sheree calling him while he's filming with the guys, and he ignores the call and says that it's just Sheree. She's my friend, girl. I'll just talk to her later. So you're not going to use this now on this show to make me feel like this means that you're in the relationship. All the girls see this and they feel like Sheree and Martell have such a good relationship when, as I said before, he doesn't feel like he's in a relationship with her. Sheree then talks about the end scene comment to Drew, making it a bigger deal than it was, saying that, you know, she feels like you should say something to Candy. She brings up Marlo and the situation with Drew, and Marlo apologizes despite all the fails and all the things said. Y'all, I'm sorry for all the background noise. One thing about having neighbors is it sucks sometimes because they're very inconsiderate. Why are you in the hall making all that noise? I don't know. Anyways, Sheree then, I read that part. Sheree brings up Marlo and Drew. She apologizes despite all the things that she said in that vehicle. The way that Marlo went in on Drew in regards to her body being built bad and her relationship and her clothes and and all the things that she said, because Drew didn't want to say shooting, she said incident. And the way she went on that girl and the fake apology she gave her then, and then talked bad about her when she got off the phone, I don't believe that apology. I feel like she just said it to shut Sheree up and to appease Drew, and Drew lets her go. We then see the ladies go to a pottery thing to do some pottery while we see Kenya and Candy, after 7 hours, arriving back to the hotel. And the ladies are basically saying that they get along so much better now that Candy and Kenya aren't there, and that Marlo them need to act, that Monyetta and them need to act the same way whether Candy and Kenya are around or not. And I'm tired of y'all acting like they're lapdogs. Monyetta has been the same person this entire season. Moneta speaks when she speaks and says what she says, but you all try to make it look and seem like she's saying what she's saying because someone's making her say that, and that's not the case. I think she just knows that amongst this group, she needs to pick her battles, number one. Number two, I feel like she's still feeling you guys out, and at the end of the day, her and Kandi are real friends. So you're gonna feel whatever you feel. They hang out with each other outside of filming. They go on trips together and all of that. So there is no need to explain anything. Their dynamic, they have an actual friendship. So does Kenya. They have an actual friendship, unlike the things that you are doing. And if you're gonna bring up Sonia going on a family trip, that was the first time that she did something like that with Kandi. And if you watch Kandi's stories, she wasn't invited to her birthday dinner. So her birthday trip out of the country, she wasn't invited. So that bridge has been burnt. So they said that whole thing about they get along better, but the arguments, there have been plenty of arguments that have happened when Kandi hasn't been present. When they went to do the whole thing and they were kicking on Kenya's door, Kandi wasn't present when Marlo started acting like that. Kenya wasn't even being confrontational prior to that incident happening, and they did that. Who was that? Oh, let me think. That was Sheree and that was Marlo. That wasn't Kandi and Kenya. When the whole situation happened with Drew arguing with... Was it Kenya? Oh, no. Kenya was gone. Was it No, Kandi was gone too. It was, oh, wait, that's right, Marlo. Because Marlo wanted to get upset with her about something that didn't even really concern Drew. So stop acting like these big blow-ups. And I know there are instances when Kandi has gotten into it with the ladies and whatever, but some of that has been because of the bones that people like Sheree and Sonia have carried to let them know something that was being said. And Sheree and Marlo are the main problem. And I'm not going to say that the other ladies don't have their moments, but those two right there, those two, it's a reason why production favors them sometimes the way they do. It's time for Sheree's pajama event. Kandi walks in with her sweats, and Sheree in confessional says that Kandi needs to work on her fashion. She came in here looking like Cleo from Set It Off. We see the ladies sitting around talking. The whole situation with Kandi saying what she said about NSYNC gets brought up. She says, I felt like you were being dramatic. Drew says that, you know, she's going through a devastating time and yada, yada, yo. Her and Kandi squash that. And Kandi apologizes, which I don't feel like Kandi needed to necessarily apologize, but Kandi's a bigger person than me. They she's asked, I think by Kandi, how dropping it with Drew is going. And she says it's going very well. And thank you for asking her and for the support or whatever. And Sheree brings up how none of the ladies supported her. She didn't see their names coming across any of the orders when She by Sheree was launched. And Sonia, and I appreciated that she did this, even though a lot of times she gets on my nerves. She brought up the fact, like, look, I try to support you, but when I tried to support you, the website didn't work. There were things that weren't available. It just wasn't letting me add anything to my bag. Like, I tried a few times and it didn't work. So I stopped trying, and Sheree isn't trying to hear that. Sheree's like, so you don't keep trying? And she's like, no, I don't keep trying. She's like, well, I supported you. I gave you $5,000 to your event. And Moneta says, look, even though you didn't support me, you haven't bought my book, I haven't seen your name on a thing, I don't have a problem buying some stuff. And we see the ladies pick up their phones to order some things. Marlo said that they said it was overpriced, and it was on Alibaba, which I think she was trying to say AliExpress. It was priced lower there. And it's interesting to me that Marlo can make these type of comments about Sheree, and Sheree isn't bothered by it. But if Kandi would have said something like that, then Sheree would have used it as an excuse as to why she can shade Kandi about the whole shooting thing, are we getting biscuits or bullets, and about Todd, and laugh with Martell about his height and all these other things. But Marlo can say things and nothing is done. But we all know that that's because those ladies are in alliance together. They decided to work together. Some kind of way, the whole, have you ever kissed a woman question is asked, and the ladies say no, and it looks like production had wrapped up, and Kandi basically says, like, that's not true, you did kiss somebody. And Drew says, Kandi says, Toya said that you kissed her. And she says, well, Drew says in her confessional, well, that's not true, because what Toya told me was that Kandi told her to say that. And Kandi's like, I told her to tell the truth, and that's the truth. The truth is you kissed her. We see them arguing back and forth. Kandi saying she's leaving. Production asks the ladies if they believe it, and Marlo says like she 80% believes that she saw it and she's 20% not sure. And production acts like, how does that work? And Marlo's funny in that moment, and it's basically because she's like, Drew makes what she says sometimes sound so believable that you question yourself. And that's pretty much the end of it. This episode was okay. I still feel like it was another filler episode. I don't understand why we had to spend so much time listening to Drew cry and stuff about the situation when I don't feel like she was being honest. I feel like the true issue is that her and Ralph are going through things, and rather than just saying Ralph and I are having a rough time because she doesn't want to hear what the ladies has to say, she's using this whole lawsuit as an excuse, because those tears that we saw, I don't feel like it was acting, and I don't feel like it came from the lawsuit. Because when it was brought up in your home, you weren't that upset by it. You seem more upset about it now. And I think it's one of those things where when you're irritated about a situation and when you're annoyed about a situation, everything feels like it's just compounding and building on, and it's just up and up and up and up to the point where you feel like you're going to explode. And her explosion was her tears, because she's going through something with Ralph. I don't understand how these ladies are in Portugal and all we're seeing them do is things that we can see them do in Atlanta. This is supposed to be a healing thing, and I think Sheree just labeled it as that because she had to try to explain a way that production reached out for her to act like she's the one who did this trip. You all are in another country. I would go to the market or whatever, that's cute, but do things like Courtney said, see the arts and go to museums and stuff like that you wouldn't have access to here. I'm sure that there has to be some body of water, some type of landmark, some type of structure, something that will allow you to feel grounded. When you're talking about healing, you're talking about energy. Whether you believe in a higher power or not, we'll say that. Whether you believe in a higher power or not, a lot of different belief systems understand the importance of nature and being grounded. And in order to be grounded, you, in my opinion, have to sometimes reset yourself and be a part of the earth. I don't know if any of you have ever done this, because for me, my balance comes from water. I love being by the water. I love swimming in it, more so out of the country swimming in it. I don't really swim in a lot of water here in the States, but I love swimming in it. I love being in it. I love being a part of it. I love being by it. I love hearing it. I love the smell of it. I love the smell of being out on the lake, at the beach. Like, these are things that it relaxes me. It helps me get centered. And I feel like they're dropping the ball in Portugal, because we have yet to see you all do anything that have you be centered. These pointless conversations and interactions about these things when these ladies are not being honest with the cameras around. Drew, say you plead the fifth. You're lying because your husband's going to get mad and your pastor family member might get mad if you tell the truth. You kissed the girl and you liked it. I mean, it is what it is. You're grown. At this point, they're going to feel whatever way they feel. But you did what you did. I don't know. Real Housewives, you're missing something. Something in this equation is not working. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what to tell you all, but do better. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Like the video. When I looked the other day, I have 95 subscribers, and that may not be a big deal to you, but it matters to me. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time.